Wow, good afternoon, everybody. You think this room is intimidating when you look at it from that direction. It's even harder when you look at this direction. But in full transparency, I happen to be the president and CEO of Vitamix now, but it has never been something I wanted to do. It wasn't part of my plan. I'm in the hospitality industry. That was my background. I like to serve people behind the scenes. I'm not the person that likes to be up front. So this is a little intimidating for me to be sitting in front of so many presidents and CEOs who have lived through probably more experience than I ever have or even want to. But what I want to do today is just share a little bit about my story and how I made meaning of it, and if in telling that there's something that helps your journey along, because maybe you haven't experienced that piece of it, that would mean the world to me. So thank you for the opportunity to do this. As you mentioned, Vitamix, we are celebrating 97 years. We're going to be 100 years in 3 short little years. I don't want to go through all of this. The piece that I want to share, though, is my great-grandfather started the company in 1921 during the Great Recession that was the predecessor of the Great Depression. And his whole world was turned upside down financially, and he needed to do something different. He had been giving of his time because he owned real estate, and he was donating it to the town, and I guess he was the mortuary and in charge of the post office and any volunteer thing he could do. But when things flipped upside down, he needed to do something different. His choice was, because canned goods were just coming into the market, in his mind, if he were to sell everybody this new thing called a can opener so they could open their cans and not cause harm, then he would allow people to be able to eat healthier. So I think it's really cool that way back in 1921, he kind of started with that. It wasn't until after that where I thought, you know what, maybe I will get involved in this Vitamix family business after all. Because before that, I mean, when you're in high school and you're cleaning toilets and painting walls, it doesn't seem like the best place to spend the rest of your life and your career. But I did come back in 1997, and being fourth generation, I worked there for a while, and then in 2009, my dad comes to me and he said, so I'm finally ready to retire, and I need to find a new president and CEO. And I said, perfect, I will go help you find someone. I said, because we need somebody who's got this massive big vision, and I want their vision to be at least as big or bigger than mine, because if it's not as big as mine, I just don't want to hit my head up against a brick wall. My dad turned to me and said, well, I was kind of thinking you. I laughed hysterically out loud for a long time, and I turned to him and said, well, you're such a dad. I mean, of course you think it's me. But I don't know how to run a company. I know nothing about running a company. Never wanted to run a company. I like the sales and marketing piece. And he said, that's exactly why I need you to run this company. So one of the things I just want to share is there's probably a lot of you out there that you never intended to be a CEO, and you don't know how, and you're not doing it like everyone else. And I think there's something to that it definitely, at least in our story, has made a pretty significant difference. So Ed Freeman, who's one of the trustees of Conscious Capitalism, he says that our body needs red blood cells, but that's not the point of our body to just make red blood cells, right? So just like that with organizations, we have to make a profit, but that's not why we have to exist, is to make a profit. Just like a body, you get too many red blood cells, you have a problem. The company, you make too much profit, it's not necessarily a good thing. So what I love about this kind of history that I have is we're now in 2018, and we're still being able to flourish as an organization with that kind of focus on saying, hey, it's because we want to make a difference. And what I love about this with the Conscious Capitalism, with the organization, the association, with seeing so many people here, is I kind of came by this a little naturally with being driven by purpose, because I had the autoimmune disease that almost took my life. And when I realized that moment when the doctor said, well, we're just really hoping we're going to get her back, I really don't know. I was telling my mom, I just don't know if she's going to make it. Something clicked inside of me, and I said, no, you don't understand. I mean, I'm only 30 years old. I haven't even started yet. I haven't made a difference. I don't want to be wiped off the planet without having made my difference. So for me, it was that moment on where I said, you know what, I'm going to make a difference because I want to make a difference. And a lot of people don't have these life-threatening opportunities where it clicks. So we have to find other ways to help people realize that life of being able to do something that's fulfilling because you know you're making a difference is so, so worth it, personally, let alone for the fact that it can make a difference. So when I got the opportunity to run Vitamix, I decided this is what I wanted to do to help other people do the same. So we had this amazing opportunity to grow. How many actually know Vitamix is a brand? Yeah, oh my gosh, you just warmed my heart. I'm with a bunch of friends. This is awesome, thank you. How many of you realized that we were 100 years old or knew that we were 100 years old? See, not very many people. Because a couple years ago, when the world started changing and people started talking about whole food and organic and deciding that we can control our destiny a lot more with health than we ever thought, I said, wow, this is the time. This is the time where for generations, in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, we all remember those decades, whole foods, healthy foods was not really part of the picture, right? So we kind of limped along as an organization, and I saw this as a chance to really just say, hey, let's go make a difference. Now's the time. I didn't know how to run a company, let me remind you. The only thing I knew was that when I was living with purpose, when I got to do what I wanted to do and make a difference in the world, I was more engaged and so excited, and you couldn't turn me off. In fact, they cut me off on caffeine. I am not allowed to have caffeine anymore because I have purpose. It's so powerful. So here I am, kind of naive, and thinking, well, if that means so much to me and it gets me going and gets me focused and makes sure that I don't make a mistake because it's my purpose that I'm living, it's not somebody else's, right? What if I had an entire company where everyone in my company was living their purpose, and by living their purpose, they would be laser focused, they would do what they need to do, and they're not going to make mistakes because it's their purpose. They're not doing it for anybody else. That's all I knew. So I tried it, and it worked amazing, unbelievably well. Afterwards, I went back and I said, you know what, I got to figure out what just happened because that worked really well, but I don't know why it worked well, so I went back and studied it. Even though we've done it once, it's really hard to keep that momentum going in your organization for people to truly understand personal purpose. So many people don't want to believe you that you actually want them to live with purpose. Has anyone else experienced this? I mean, you can help them understand, but they just go into denial, and then something changes and they go back. So I'm actually I'm rolling out a new video to the company to help them understand and remind them what we're all about. I'm debuting it here. And I'm hoping that afterwards, if this works, if you guys think this is going to be something that will help my employees understand, let me know. If you got suggestions, let me know. But that's what this video is all about. It's to talk about who we are and why it's so important. So thank you. Now I can click it. The very first guiding principle of ours is we passionately believe in making the world a better place. If we could change the way we eat, we could change our future.
I'm going to give you a demonstration of the Vitamix machine.
Vitamix was started by my great-grandfather in 1921 because in his mind and in his heart, this is how every household in the world could eat healthier and it would taste fantastic.
Here's to your health. Delicious.
This is how we can change the way the world thinks about food.
I wanted to make people feel good. And the Vitamix gives us the ability to do things beyond our imagination.
I've had a Vitamix since I was in 7th grade. I bought one with my babysitting money. I can put everything I need into it, so I make sure I get enough protein, enough fat, enough carbs, everything in one meal. I love my Vitamix.
I use a Vitamix blender in the work that I do a lot. It's been a really great tool to show the fun side of cooking and just how you can totally let loose and throw a bunch of different things in a blender. I think that's the part that the kids love the most, and when you get those light bulbs to go off and have them connect to food and being able to unlock that potential for a really awesome life, just an amazing thing.
Over the years, I honestly don't think I've ever used a different blender in any restaurant that I've worked in. And that just shows durability and dependability is very important, and the Vitamix blender does that for us.
Food has the power to fuel our futures, and when we ensure that the next generation is fueled and healthy, we are also ensuring a healthier future for us all.
Join us in helping make the world a healthier place. Together, we can make a change that will last for generations to come. Thank you. I look forward to hearing your feedback after. But really, this is our passion. We want to ignite the people that are out there changing the world. We want to give the tools to the chef So this is the least of their concerns, and they can go out and they can help people think differently about how they eat. And think about it, somebody in high school who wants to change the world with young kids, like how do we help those people? So we get to do that, I understand, because we are privately owned, and we don't have to deliver the same shareholder returns, but it's really amazing to be in a situation where you know that everything that you're doing is making a difference. So if I could somehow do this for every single one of my employees. So I went back and did some research on it, and this is what I discovered. So the lower the black bar is if you have a higher purpose, which is really a lot about conscious capitalism, right? If your company has a higher purpose, it's more than just making money at the end of the day. See the impact that it has on engagement over somebody who's working for a company that doesn't have a higher purpose. But the red bar is personal purpose. Think about this for a minute. Personal purpose. If you are living with purpose, irregardless of whether it's related directly to the company that you work for, you are more than twice as engaged than you are if you're just working for a company with a higher purpose. That means it's coming from the inside. So whatever I just intuitively thought, it's working, and this is why it works, which is so amazing. But what I love about it is because if we can help people understand what's in it for them, right? What's driving people, then we can just give them an engagement level in what they're doing, which means your entire day, your entire week, every moment that you have can be spent delivering what you want to deliver, the impact that you want to have on this planet, versus working and then working to make money in order to do what you want to do. A lot of us in this room, we get to do what we want to do because we're at that level. But how do we get it for all of our employees? The employees have a hard time believing this. They really do. They just don't get it. Their eyes light up when you tell them, but then they forget. What? Somebody actually wants to help me. But the other one that was really fascinating is a company having a higher purpose didn't help improve the life satisfaction of an individual, but having a personal purpose did. So I'm going to quickly go through some of the things of how I made meaning of this, and you may make meaning of it differently, and that's okay too. So our company purpose is to liberate and nourish the zest for life. Why we have it that is because it personally allows people to liberate their own life, to nourish their own life. It gives us the opportunity to nourish the life of our customers. It has a long-term meaning for the company. Let's nourish the zest of the life of our company. But let's also do it for our planet. What I love about this company purpose is it lets every one of us in the company have a very broad range of personal purpose that fits within that company purpose. I put the example up there of what mine is. Mine happens to be to help people find their wings and fly. So that's why I'm not a president and CEO. I just wanted to help people. That's who I am. I wanted to serve. What I didn't realize was, if I get to really live that purpose, and I'm calling it a superpower, and I'll explain that in a second, when I get to do that, what I didn't realize is in the position that I'm in now, I get to do that exponentially. It's so many more lives because that's something that I love to do. So if I can do that for every single one of the employees, and we can figure out how to do that, then they could be living with this much joy and happiness and fulfillment. And then, not good for the coffee industry, sorry. Nobody got that? That was the only joke. I'm really not very funny. I was hoping that one would take. So what is a superpower? A superpower is that thing that we do that we're better than anybody else on the planet, things that give us energy and things that we love to do that have a positive impact on the planet. And so your superpower of what you love to do that gives you energy, that really can drive a purpose for you. So later today, I'm in a session where, because I can't go into it in too much detail now, this one's rather short, but if you want to learn more about how to identify either your own superpower, and in that session, we're going to go through and I'll share with you how I helped to develop the superpowers of all my employees and see if that tool maybe something would work for you as well. So I'm going to go into that in more detail. I think it's at 4:45 today. So here's our culture objective, is to create a self-inspired army of champions by harnessing their passion, determination, and discipline, and as they strive to achieve what they want to achieve, it's basically, let's release their superpowers. Let's give them the opportunity to do what they want to do in a way that has a bigger impact outside themselves, and it helps the whole organization. So it's very, very purposeful. How do I create this culture? So you've heard probably a million times over the past couple of days the importance of creating values. I've discovered it doesn't matter what values you have, it just matters that you have these values that everybody shares, because your values, when everyone shares it, is going to be kind of this foundational thing for your culture. So we created these values by just going out and interviewing, using appreciative inquiry. We interviewed 98% of our employees and said, what is it that you value about this company? And once they said it, once we defined it, I said, okay, I'm not going to change that. What's so powerful about values, though, which is often unrecognized, is when you share values with somebody, think about that person in your life that you'd probably jump in front of a vehicle for him if you needed to, right? I mean, you love them so much. You're just like this. You're right on all the time. It's not because they look like you. It's not because they think like you. It's because they share so much of your values that you don't even have to tell half the story. Like, you can get halfway through your sentence and they got it because they already know what makes you go, right? The power of that is you feel safe. So think about working for organizations and all the employees that work for you. If you can help them feel safe, they're going to walk a tightrope for you because they're going to know that you got a net waiting for them underneath. That feeling of being safe and protected and not having to spend all their time protecting themselves from a boss or a coworker that values something different than they do. The other thing is, once you've got, in our particular case, I created this culture, I needed to let people go. I needed to teach my managers and leaders to just let people go. This is really hard for people to realize. You come up through management, and by the time you get to the top, you're like, yeah, now I get to tell people what to do, right? And I'm saying, no. You're the last thing I want you to do is tell people what to do. But it's really helping create the playing field of what people can work within, and then just let them be empowered through alignment. So how do we do that? Very quickly, at Vitamix, everyone sees a customer life cycle. The life cycle itself, I got some energy around it, but not that much. The thing I do have energy around, though, is there's certain moments within your customer's life cycle, whatever that might be, where what we call them is wow moments. Those are the moments that we just have to go, wow. So we have to just really influence somebody. This whole, I love my Vitamix. Anyone can actually say they love their Vitamix? Thank you. We're purposely trying to instill this virus in as many people as possible, and there's no antidote. Sorry. But anyways, you go through, we're trying to create this engagement where people are so happy with our brand because it does exactly what they want it to and more, because they're completely surprised by what they can achieve with it, because it's never going in a landfill. I mean, we got people who've had their Vitamix for 50, 60 years, and they're still using it, right? We just help everyone in the company understand this is what's important. And if your superpower can help us achieve any of those wow points, have at it. Like, knock yourself out. Figure it out for us. So I guess just at the end, it's really about just being very conscientious and purposeful about what you do. I'm guessing everyone in this room has a greater purpose already. If you don't, welcome to the concept. But no, that's something that's been around for a little while, and you've probably been there. The next one is to really identify what drives you personally. And I'm here to tell you that life is really, really short, and it can be ripped away from you in seconds. So if you're not living your purpose every day, then you're missing out. I would say most of us in this room know that already. But most of us in this room are also in a position that we can help every single person whose lives we touch be able to experience that same level of joy and fulfillment that we get to experience. And now I can honestly stand in front of you and say what the benefits of it are, right, because of the research. So it's really powerful. The other one is create that culture to reinforce and identify the superpowers for everyone in your organization. I like to hire 3 different people in the company. One, people that already have their personal purpose. They get it. They're driven by it. They can tell you what it is. There's not very many people out there like that, but if there are, I try to hire them. The second bucket is people who they've never really articulated it before, but if you talk to them about it, it starts to come together. And in the interview, they're going, yeah, I mean this, I like this. Can I do that? I mean, that's this, right? It's good. They get all excited about the concept. The third bucket is people that nobody's ever given them permission to have a personal purpose before, but when we talk about ours, you can see their eyes light up, and they say, you know what, I want to be a part of that. So if you're in one of those 3 buckets, then you probably fit out really, really well. The last thing I want to touch on is you have to get rid of the kryptonite in your organization. So if you look around and you say, yes, I want to give everyone superpowers, and I want to let them fly, and I want them to live their purpose, but you've got something going on, whether it's culture or a couple of bad apples that are still in the company for legacy reasons, you gotta move that kryptonite out. You gotta get rid of it. And then empower your teams to identify the kryptonite and get rid of it, and tell you what it is, which is really hard for people to come up and tell me that there's kryptonite, and then I have to get rid of it, or this whole thing falls apart, because kryptonite can be really powerful. So that's really what I wanted to share with everyone today. Join me at 4:45 today, and we can help you identify your employees' superpowers if you're interested in that. If not, then we'll just sit around and have a wonderful conversation for a while. I'm good with either. And I don't know what room I'm in. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's somehow out there. We'll figure it out. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you. Thank you.